Now I will start recording from the book Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. A full 14 months after the first surgery, I was once again rolling through a hospital corridor on my back, staring at the fluorescent lights in the ceiling headed to pre-op with no guarantees, while the techs and nurses shaved me down and prepped me up. I thought about all I would accomplished in the military and wondered, was it enough? If the docs couldn't fix me this time, would I be willing to retire satisfied? That question lingered in my head until the anesthesiologist placed an oxygen mask over my face and counted down softly in my ear. Just before lights out, I heard the answer erupt from the abyss of my jet black soul. Fuck no. Challenge it. Schedule it in. It's time to compartmentalize your day. Too many of us have must have become multitaskers, and that's created nation of half asses. That will be a this will be a 3 week challenge. During week one, go about your normal schedule but take notes. When do you work? Are you working non-stop or checking your phone? The moment app will tell you. How long are your meal breaks? When do you exercise, watch TV, or chat to friends? How long is your commute? Are you driving? I want you to get super detailed and document it all with timestamps. This will be your baseline, and you will find plenty of fat to trim. Most people waste 4 to 5 hours on a given day, and if you can learn to identify and utilize it, you will be on your way toward increased productivity. In week 2, build an optimal schedule, lock everything into place in 15 to 30-minute blocks. Some tasks will take multiple blocks or entire days. Fine, when you work on one thing at a time. Think about the task in front of you and pursue it relentlessly. When it comes time for the next task on your schedule, place that first one aside and apply the same focus. Make sure your meal breaks are adequate but not open ended, and schedule in exercise and rest too. But when it's time to rest, actually rest. No checking email or bullshitting on social media. If you are going to work hard, you must also rest your brain. Make notes with timestamps in week 2. You may still find some residual dead space. By week 3, you should have a working schedule that maximizes your effort without sacrificing sleep. Post photos of your schedule with the hashtag hash can't hurt me, talent not required. Uncommon amongst uncommon. The anesthesia took hold, and I felt myself wheeling backward until I landed in a scene from my past. We were humping through the jungle in the dead of night. Our movement was stealthy and silent, but swift. Head to me. He who hits first wins the fight most of the time. We crested a pass, took shelter beneath a thick stand of towering mahogany trees in the triple canopy jungle, and tracked our targets through night vision goggles. Even without sunlight, the tropical heat was intense, and sweat slid down the side of my face like few drops on a window pane. I was 27 years old, and my platoon and Rambo fever dreams had become real as fuck. I blinked twice, exhaled, and on the OIC's signal opened fire. My entire body reverberated with the rhythm of the M60, a belt-fed machine gun firing 500 to 650 rounds per minute. As the 100 round belt fed the growling machine and flared from the barrel, adrenaline flooded my bloodstream and saturated my brain. My focus narrowed. There was nothing else but me, my weapon, and the target I was shredding with zero apologies. It was 2002. I was fresh out birds, and as a full-time Navy SEAL, I was now officially one of the world's most fit and deadly warriors and one of the hardest men alive. Or so I thought, but this was years before my descent into the ultra rabbit hole. September 18th was still a fresh gaping wound in the America collective consciousness, and its ripple effects changed everything for guys like us. Combat was no longer a mythical state of mind we aspired to. It was real and ongoing in the mountains, villages, and cities of Afghanistan. Meanwhile, we were moved in fucking Malaysia, awaiting orders, hoping to join the fight, and we trained like it. After Buds, I moved on to SEAL qualification training, where I officially earned my trident before landing in my first platoon. Training continued with jungle warfare exercises in Malaysia. We rappelled and fast roped up and down from hovering helicopters. Some men were trained as snipers, and since I was the biggest man in the unit, my weight was back up to 250 pounds by then. I scored the job of carrying the pig, the nickname for the M60 because it sounded like the grunt of a bad-nerved hog. Most people dreaded pig detail, but I was obsessed with that gun. The weapon alone was 20 pounds, and each belt of 100 rounds weighted in at 7 pounds. I carried 6 to 7 of those, one of the gun, 4 on my waist, and one in the pouch strapped to my rucksack. The weapon and my 50-pound ruck everywhere we went on and was expected to move just as fast as everyone else. I had no choice. We train as we fight, and live ammo is necessary to mimic true combat, so we could perfect the SEAL battle maxim: shoot, move, communicate. That meant keeping barrel dispersion on point. We could not let our weapon spray just anywhere. That's how friendly fire incidents happen, and it takes great muscle discipline and attention to detail to know where you are aiming in relation to the location of your teammates at all times, especially when armed with the pig. Maintaining a high standard of safety and delivering deadly force on target when duty calls is what makes an average SEAL a good operator. Most people think once you are a SEAL, you are always in the circle, but that's not true. That's not true. I learned quickly that we were constantly being judged, and the second I was unsafe, whether I was still a new guy or a veteran operator, I would be out. I was one of three new guys in my first platoon, and one of them had to have his gun taken away because he was so unsafe. For 10 days, we moved through the Malaysian jungle, sleeping in hammocks, paddling dugouts, carrying our weapons all day and night, and he was stuck holding a fucking broomstick like the wicked witch of the West. Even then, he could not hack it and wound up getting booted. Our officers in that first platoon kept everybody honest, and I respected them for it. In combat, nobody just turns into Rambo. Daniel Costa told me recently. Dana was second in command on my first platoon with SEAL Team 5. These days, he is director of operations at Buds. We push ourselves hard, so when bullets do start flying, we fall back on really good training. And it's important that the point where we fall back is so high. We know we are gonna outperform the enemy. We may not become Rambo, but we will demon claws. A lot of people are fascinated by the weaponry and gunfights SEALs utilize and engage in, but that was never my favorite part of the job. I was damn good at it, but I preferred going to war with myself. I am talking about strong physical training, and my first platoon delivered that too. We would go on long run swim runs most mornings before work. We were not just getting miles in either. We were competing and our officers lead from the front. Our OIC and Dana, his second, were two of the best athletes in the entire platoon, and my platoon chief, Chris Beck, who now goes by Christine Beck and is one of the most famous trans women on Twitter, talk about being the only, was a hard motherfucker too. It's funny, Dana said the OIC and I never really talked about our philosophy on PT. We just completed. I wanted to beat him and he wanted to beat me, and that got people talking about how hard we were getting after it. There was never a doubt in my mind that Dana was off his damn rocket. I remember before we shipped out for Indonesia with stops in Guam, Malaysia, Thailand, and Korea, we did a number of training dives off San Clemente Island. Dana was my swim buddy, and one morning he challenged me to do a training dive in 55-degree water without a wetsuit because that's how the predecessors to the SEAL did it when they prepared the beaches in Normandy for the famous D-Day invasion during World War II. Let's go old school and dive in shorts with dive knives, he said. He had the animalistic mentality I thrived on, and I was not about to back down from that challenge. We swam and dove together all over Southeast Asia, where we trained elite military units in Malaysia and sharpened the skills of Thai Navy SEALs. The crew of frogmen who saved the Soxer kids in the cave in the summer of 2018. They were engaged with an Islamist insurgency in South Thailand. Wherever we deployed, I loved those PT mornings above all else. Pretty soon, every man in that platoon was competing against everyone else. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't seem to catch our two officers and usually came in third place. Didn't matter. It was not important who won because everybody was capping personal bests among every day, almost every day. And that's what stayed with me, the power of competitive environment to amp up an entire platoon's commitment and achievement. This was exactly the environment I had been dreaming of when I classed up for birds. We were all living the SEAL ethos, and I could not wait to see where it took us individually and as a unit once we tagged into the fight. But as the war raged in Afghanistan, all we could do was sit tight and hope our number was called. We were in a Korean bowling alley when we watched the invasion of Iraq together. It was depressing as hell. We had been training hard for an opportunity like that. Our foundation had been reinforced with all that PT and filled out with robust weapons and tactical training. We would become a deadly unit frothing to be a part of the action, and the fact that we were passed over again pissed us all off. So we took it out on one another every morning. Navy SEALs were treated like rock stars at the bases we visited around the world, and some of the guys partied like it. In fact, most SEALs enjoyed their share of big nights out, but not me. I would I had gotten into the SEAL by living a Spartan lifestyle and felt my job at night was to rest, recharge, and get my body and mind right for battle again the next day. I was forever mission ready, and my attitude earned respect from some, but our OIC tried to influence me to let go a little and become one of the boys. I had great respect for our OIC. He had graduated from the Naval Academy and the University of Cambridge. He was clearly smart, a stud athlete, and a great leader on his way to claiming a coveted spot on Dev Guru. So his opinion mattered to me. It mattered to all of us because he was responsible for evaluating us, and those evaluations have a way of following you around and affecting your military career for going forward. On paper, my first evaluation was solid. He was impressed with my skills and all out effort. But he also dropped some off the record wisdom. You know, Goggins, he said, You would understand the job a little better if you hung out with the guys more. That's when I learned the most about operating in the field, hanging with the boys, hearing their stories. It's important to be part of the group. Thank you. That's it for the day. That's it for the day.